I always like. All right, welcome to Wake Up Real Estate. It's Friday, March 31st.
Woo.
Tomorrow is April 1st. No fooling around.
Oh,
We already have some great comments. Oh, he's back in his office today, not at the Forever Florida. I always trip over that. Mike Williams, good morning. I'm so glad you guys are back together. This show and the content you share makes with us makes my day. You show us who you really are and how to make money in real estate and have fun. Mike,
thanks, Mike.
that you just made not just my day, you made my whole weekend.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. And Winifred, appreciate you agreeing there. Great Rising from sunny California. Mike, good morning. Happy Friday to you. Angie, I'm assuming Angie, good morning to you. Please like, comment, subscribe, share, smash the bell, and spread the love. Spread the love. I know I already said share, but we're doing our best to be of as much value and service as possible here, and would certainly greatly appreciate it if you send this and recommend us to your the folks in your office, or if you don't want anyone else in your office knowing some of the secret stuff we're working on, share with you all have referral partners all over the country. You depending on what brokerage you're with, agents in other areas and markets. Please share and recommend that they come spend some time with us every morning, or at least check out the YouTube channel, which our subscriber count continues to grow. We flew past 500. The next goal is 1,000. Please help us get there as quickly as possible. The question of the day is very transparently a leading question, but I promise you in a good way. The question is, when you do open houses, what do you do to generate flyers? Like, do you just do like a MLS printout? Do you have your own like Canva template? Do you use some other kind of tool or whatever? Let us know in the comments below. And then if you missed it, Ryan, this is how, like, I'm gonna make Ryan blush a little bit. I gave him an idea yesterday morning, and by the end of the day, he built a freaking tool that spits out the idea that I had. By the end of the day,
selfishly, I wanted to see if our form generator we use could do it for other things, and it was a good exercise.
Well, you selfishly created something that's awesome that we're just letting everybody use.
Yep.
So with that leading question, and in the spirit of Free Leads Friday, Ryan, why don't you show the tool that you built that anyone, if you have an upcoming open house yourself or on one of your listings, or this tool may get you so excited about open houses, you find someone else in your office that has a listing and you ask them, hey, can I hold your house open this weekend? And also along those lines, the checklist that I shared earlier in the week, which is on the Wake Up site, I am now adding, there's the checklist, and I am now adding bite-sized video tutorials on how to promote your open house as well. So you can use the fly, you can get somebody's permission to hold an open, create flyers using the tool, and then use the checklist to promote the open house. Now, it may be a little late to do one this weekend, or maybe not, but at a minimum, you can start planning for next weekend. Anyway, go ahead.
This cat will not leave me alone. All right, so let's do the social post today at the same time, because I just made the social post of the day an example of one of these ugly but effective flyers is what I'm calling it, kind of.
Yep.
So I just did open house of the week, and then I just have a picture of the flyer and then a link in the comments to the open house down below.
Yep.
So the tool itself can be found on the site, of course. It should be just the easiest way to get to it. It'll be in the navigation under the swipables, I think, or down here under toolbox, open house flyer tool. And the way it works is you just fill out some fields. Now, the first time you do this, it's going to take a minute, but we've got this link up top that'll allow you to just save time. and you can go to any previous flyers at any time. You have to click the dollar signs at the bottom. It explains it. But basically, anytime you need to create a flyer, after you create your first one, Josh, you just come in here and you change out the property address, the open house date, the first like 3 things.
Yeah.
Just a picture of the property.
Even cooler.
Yeah. So yeah, take a few seconds. And then what we're doing here, sneakily, is we're pre-filling your mortgage partner's information, because there's going to be some call to actions on the flyer related to your mortgage partner. But you can, we're pre-filling Josh and our Next Mortgage team, but you're welcome to change all this out. And he's also directly linked to a few of the capture pages we've already built around starting the mortgage process, the local deals, home buyer financing capture page. And they pre-fill your email so that the leads are sent to you when it's filled out. So it's like dynamic. And you'll get the gist of this here in a minute. So let's click generate new flyer. And then it'll be emailed to you as an attachment. And then you can click and download the flyer here. Now, right now, it's a little ugly. I can probably clean it up a little better, but sometimes ugly is better. It's like
and you may want to, so if you're doing this, you may want to combine this with something that's prettier and more specifically just about the property. And because we've got some folks saying, I use Breakthrough Broker, EXP Marketplace. And again, you could just print one out from your MLS and you've got a pretty version that's just property specific, but then you've got this deliberately kind of, ugly. Ryan used the word ugly, but is a more effective direct response mechanism. In other words, a way to get people who are maybe standoffish about sharing their information or registering for the open house. They may naturally on their own choose to check this out and start scanning the QR codes and opting in.
Yep. So and that's the whole thing here. The reason it's ugly is because it's littered with calls to action.
Right.
And what you can do, there's a few ways to handle this. You can stand in the open house, hand people the flyer instead of asking them to sign in, and just say, hey, do me a favor, just scan the QR code at the top right to, get the full details while you browse. Yep. And, that QR code could go to a quick landing page. It says sign into the open house. Step 1, sign into the open house. And that's the next thing you do. They enter their name. And then they go to property info.
Stick with that. If you're doing that, I think one way to compel them is to let them know that when they sign in, not only will they get the full listing sheet, but we'll also send you the disclosures and additional info on the property.
Yeah.
And you could say that, we're saving trees by not having a bunch of, like in Pennsylvania, the disclosures are, depending on the year that it was built, 11 or 12 pages. Well, I'm not going to print out a bunch of 11 or 12 page packets, not knowing how many people are going to be there. I don't want to, we're not trying to kill more trees over here, right? And people want that information, even if they don't know what it is, right? A disclosure. Oh, what are they disclosing? So use that to compel people to register as a value or a benefit of, when you register, we're going to send you all of this information.
Yeah. And the problem, in my opinion, with a lot of those other open house generators, and I haven't looked at them in a while, is they don't capture leads. They're just putting a pretty picture of you next to the property. And it's a waste of trees and a waste of opportunity. So other lead capture here, text home value to, and it just pre-fills your cell number to get a detailed report showing what your house would sell for in today's market, because we know the neighbors are there.
Yep.
And then we have our financing QRs. We have get financing, or if you're a first-time buyer, scan code. That goes to a landing page offering a first-time home buyer video. And then browse local deals. We have a deal capture page, fixers, foreclosures, etc. So they're walking through. Think about the open house experience. They walk through the house. They look. They're like, cool. They get back in the car and they throw this flyer, or like the husband's driving and the wife's sitting in the car still holding the flyer and kind of bored and just starts scanning things. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So
when somebody scans.
Well, I'm going to go back to the QR code at the top, right? Yep. So if you're using KV Core, there is a KV Core open house app. But I think that a better way of doing this is you create a landing page that's specific for the property that will be mobile optimized. If you're using KV Core, or even most other platforms now are going to be mobile optimized, and you're just saying, for the full MLS sheet and all disclosures and additional information, right? Like it could even be if it's in an HOA, right? And you have the HOA docs, whatever additional information and details you have, you tease that there. We'll email that to you, instantly once you enter your email address there or whatever. And you could change the bribe for the cell phone too to be more relevant to the open house. I don't know what Ryan will come up with a good idea there, but
yeah, because look, I'll just use 4926. I'll just make this 4926 23rd Ave South. This is how easy KV Core makes it, right?
Yeah.
See the details. That's just my submit button.
Mark, I can't change the flyer. Sent you a video. That's because, Mark, I made you that flyer from my Wake Up Real Estate account because I didn't have your login. So you'll have to create yours. I got excited and I wanted to share that. So here's what, very transparently, what prompted this is Mark Webster's in my EXP organization. We also he works with our mortgage team. He has an open house this weekend. On our huddle earlier this week, he said, hey, get me an open house flyer. I got an open house this weekend. So that got the gears turning. Then I got with Ryan yesterday morning. And by the end of the day, Ryan builds this freaking tool that's Ninja that Mark then can have flyers for his open house this weekend and get more from, that work, that effort.
So, yeah. So this page, very easy. I don't know if you guys noticed, if you have KV Core, you can just put the MLS number in down here. It makes it the background image. Yep. And what I did for the cell number, Josh, is enter your cell number to receive an update on the final selling price of this property when it sells.
That is, that's a great bribe, right? That's an actual compelling reason for them to put that in there.
Yep. And you could say that too, like scan a QR code, and if you put your phone number in, I'll text you when it sells. Like as you're talking to people coming in, and it's annoying to like grab the pen and write your name. People give you a fake email, all that stuff. Sign it. All right, so
you're offering actual value here, right? I understand that if you say, hey, my sellers are requiring everyone to sign in, but what happens is they'll sign in and they'll put Mickey Mouse at AOL.com. If you're giving them an actual thing of value, they're going to give you real information anyway, right? If there's any level of interest. So you're actually, I would say you're being more effective as well and efficient because you're going to avoid the people that are just going to put nonsense stuff in there.
Yeah, the other thing you could do here, Josh, and this is like really kind of going a little overboard, but you could retarget the visitors of this page with a Facebook video.
Yeah.
So
Mark, this is not going overboard. One of the things that if you're going to go through the effort of doing an open house, I think you should follow up with them with a personal video or a video. It doesn't have to be personally for them, but a video follow-up specifically to the attendees of the open house, thanking them for coming and updating them, something like, based upon conversations, we anticipate 2 offers coming in by, Tuesday, at noon. If you're interested, let me know. Or if you have questions, right? Like making it, that's a perfect way to create a deeper connection opportunity with them. Just sending a video by email and or text, whatever you were able to obtain, with your registration process.
So Mark's saying he couldn't edit it. Did you click this link here? And then when you clicked it, I don't know if you're trying to edit here. Maybe I need to make this more prominent. I do have a video that explains it, but just right now, because of the way the thing works, you have to click these $ signs at the bottom to edit it. It's just a silly thing that I need to fix. But and you click that, it'll bring up the form again.
If you create the QR code, you don't. The tool does. Ryan built it so that you don't have to do any of it.
Yeah, all these are created dynamically.
It all out. Like you don't have to.
And these QR codes
fill in the fields. There's like
Yeah.
And Ryan, how many fields is it? It's like 7 fields. It's not even like, and I think my internet's, sorry. We're talking over each other because the feed's getting wonky.
So
cool. All right. So we knocked out social media post of the day. We did the question of the day. We got this killer tool, which is a perfect tie-in for Free Leads Friday. Did you have anything else before I wanted to share my sort of so here's I don't have any tactic specifically for Free Leads Friday today, but more a thought experiment and an illustration point. So on yesterday's show, I asked for people to share how many leads they have in their database, inactive, unconverted, dead, whatever word you want to associate. Lead, people that contacts that you have, that you generated and have legitimate real estate interest, but they didn't buy or sell with you. And I want to continue that conversation a little bit and do some illustrating. Number one, some simple math that you can consider when looking at that number for yourself, no matter how big or small, is if you multiply that number by, let's say, 0.5. So if you've got 1,000 contacts, okay, 1,000 quote unquote leads, and you multiply that by 0.05, right, 5%, that means there are potentially 50 opportunities for clients in the next 3 to 6 months. Unequivocally. Like it's almost, you almost can't avoid that being fact. And even if it were half of that, even if it were 25, to continue the thought experiment, I want you to think about it this way. It's 1,000, and let's say there are 50 that will transact in the next 3 to 6 months. And let's say you only get 10% of those. That's 5 transactions times whatever your average commission is. And let's say it's $5,000. That's $25,000. Let's say your average commission is $10,000. That's $50,000 in commission. That I'm illustrating this to have, when you realize and you change your perspective on the value of what that is or could be, I think it just changes everything about how you approach growing and nurturing a database or not doing it. You know, the cost of not doing it, right? So if you have 1,000 contacts and they're dead, inactive leads, and you do nothing with them over the next 3 to 6 months, what you're really doing is you're costing your business $25,000, $50,000, maybe even $100,000 in potential commissions. And why I believe this ties into Free Leads Friday is because they are free at this point to you. You've already generated them in some form or fashion. Nice.
What's up, Diggs? I'm just saying hi to Diggs because it's Twitch. We don't.
Oh, let's go. All right, our first Twitch comment. So, point is, these are free leads at this point because you've already paid for them in some form or fashion. The simplest thing for you to do, and I'll show you, this is a topic that I've talked about frequently. We have the resource on the Wake Up page, and it's something that I will continue to bang the drum for. The easiest thing you can do to re-engage those leads, besides using a 9-word email or text message like we shared on this past Tuesday's Texting Tuesday, episode 37 of the Wake Up Real Estate Show. The next best thing is a weekly email newsletter to your entire database. So I'm going to pull up what mine looks like that went out this morning, which already is generating tons of activity on my dashboard. I'm going to show you what that looks like. And then I'll show you where we can, hopefully I can find it on the Wake Up Real Estate site. I know we have the resource on the Wake Up site, but we've got a resource that has video training, examples of the email template, and why we construct it the way we construct it, why it works, some tips and tricks and best practices for what to include in your email and how to structure it as well.
This is it, right?
Yes, dollar bills, y'all, right there. Yes, that is the walkthrough. And now let me show you the actual, the one that I sent out to my database this morning, because I practice what I preach, or at least I try to. So I think my screen is sharing.
And this is under swipables, guys, under scripts and templates. We're getting to the point now where we're adding a lot of stuff to the site. I'll probably make this search a little more prominent, but if you type newsletter in or you type open house in theory, it should find this stuff for you like that.
Ryan, is
sorry, Josh took the screen.
Yep. Yeah, sorry. We'll show that then again. But this is what mine looks like from today. The subject line: your Central PA weekend bucket list is inside, Ryan or Josh, whatever. And then the dates for tomorrow and Sunday. Morning first name. Tomorrow, April's 1st. Wow. I should have edited that early in the morning. Who knows? No fooling. Check out the Central PA weekend bucket list below. You know what happens when I make these is people will point out the mistake, and that opens the conversation door.
Yeah.
So it actually
you have a typo.
Yeah, exactly. You're right. I do. Thanks so much for pointing that out. By the way, are you still thinking about buying a home here in 2023?
Yeah.
You know, or here this spring? So this button goes to a blog post that we create every week. And by we, I mean Mike, but it's a simple process. It's a blog post on my KV Core site, and it's just got the upcoming events. And I want to emphasize the resource that we showed you shows you exactly how to do this, right? So I'm just kind of, you can get all of the how-to. I just want to open your mind and your eyes to this. So it's just the weekend bucket list. I did highlight the open house that we have tomorrow. And then I've got embedded calls to action is the rest of the things. So they can get an updated home valuation, which when I close out here, I'll pull up the dashboard. There was at least one that have come in already, even though this email just went out. And then I've got curated lists, which we mix up from time to time. This week, it's recently price reduced homes and open houses. And then we've got some other calls to action. I do a snapshot with for the last 7 days. This is actually pathetic. The new actives is sad. There should be
a low.
Oh man, there should be a 1 behind that. Like,
okay,
if I were taking this screenshot in 2020, there would be a 1 behind that new actives. Just in the last 7 days, it's crazy. And then I'm using KV Core's. So this is all created in the advanced editor. And if you're using KV Core, we've got a share code in there where you can swipe this. Now you have to change all of the links and stuff. You have to edit it, but you can at least more easily swipe and deploy. And when you send this out and start sending this, what will happen is you're going to populate your dashboard with activities or with opportunities to follow up. Okay. Now, unfortunately, this person started a home valuation, but there's no street address. So we may have to do some recon to try and figure out what that is. But you can see that, people are looking at properties on the site and so forth. And as the day goes on, more and more people will start clicking those links in my email. They'll go to the blog post. They'll click on the curated searches. They may click on, tap to get, an updated home valuation. And that fills up my dashboard. The way I describe this in the training and in the document is this weekly email catalyst. It's like the leadoff hitter in baseball. It gets everything going. It gets the team going. If you structure this correctly, it creates your opportunities for and really for the rest of the week. Like it's something you do on Friday, and it will populate your dashboard for the next 6 days until you send the next one. Especially if you focus on growing your database each and every day, having more people get the next week's email than the last week, things will snowball and more conversation opportunities will sort of bubble to the top. So
awesome. So free leads from the people you already have. Free leads from the people walking into your open house.
Yeah.
You don't need to spend money in
Yes.
this business. That's what's cool. I mean, a lot of businesses, you need to go kind of in the hole. I mean, other than our dues here, you get the dues done. You could just sort of start doing some of these free lead Friday things and get
Yep.
momentum going.
Now, not free lead related. We have started to get people from my direct mail double tap to scan the postcard that we've sent out. So we're going to do it. We should have more detailed update next week on A, the amount of response, and B, what to do next as the double tap.
It probably hit yesterday or started hitting this morning, right? With the mail.
So the tracker on thanks.io, which is another thing I love about Thanks, is it shows you, and it was, for some reason, there was like a small number that were, I forget what the class is, but there were a small number that were farther along than a bigger box of them. So I think maybe a couple hit yesterday, or maybe even a couple hit like early this morning, maybe.
Yeah, and remember, a lot of this is APIs with the post office. There's some delays and stuff, but it's pretty processing delivered. Says 93.4. Delivered a lot of times means that it got the final scan at the post office.
Yep.
But it's like in the truck.
Yep.
Because the carrier doesn't scan and say, I just delivered this. It's like so we just call it delivered.
So we should see a lot of them hit today and tomorrow, and we'll see a lot of scans start.
And we see an uptick in scans on the weekends because it's just that's when I deal with my mail. I just throw it on my table all week, and then you deal with it like Sunday or Saturday morning, right?
Yeah, people have time.
So, but that's cool that you got a first scan, and it's funny to me. I knew it was going to hit. Did you get the automated double tap done?
No, I knew it.
That's the way it goes.
There's so much going on.
Yeah,
but here's the thing: like we can figure it out retroactively, right? Yep. And it illustrates the point that done is better than perfect. Because if we had waited to have every little piece in place, the mail may have not been sent yet. And if you just stay slightly ahead of the game of the next step, that you can win here, and it will help you get into action sooner. Look at that. That's intoxicating.
When you hover on images on the site.
Yeah. I love that.
So what we're talking about, guys, for those of you who don't know, on the site, you'll see direct mail double tap. It's over in the right column. We're organizing things, but you can see what Josh has done up till today, all in order here. So this is the card he sent. These are the instructions about how to do the same exact thing yourself. And Josh, scan the QR code to see a complete list of all the sold real estate transactions.
Yep.
Where is that? Is that going to your site?
That's a custom. Yeah. So I built a custom page on my website that those folks are going to. This is actually a callback to something David was asking about yesterday, which is how to build custom pages on KV Core. That is, a custom page is a static permanent page on your website, right? It's not a blog post. It's not a landing page. It's a static page on the site. And Ryan, the way that I built this is that tap here is an MLS link that does actually dynamically update as long as I don't let it expire. So as long as it's like every 30 or 60 days, as long as I tap that, I get an email with the updated list. As long as I tap that in my email, it will keep it alive dynamically. So, it's more evergreen in nature, that page.
Well, so you can mail this list out. I would, if I were you, do your newsletter, but I would mail this to everybody in the area every Saturday or something. Just here's the updated sold listings, or everybody has a seller lead or something.
Yeah.
And maybe you want to do a wider range for your whole database, do like all central PA. But it's great that you have this dynamic link you can use.
Yeah. Yep.
And anyway, what's going on here is really smart, guys.
Go ahead, Ryan. Sorry.
Yeah, I just want to say, guys, whenever possible, do what Josh is doing. He's got a video here introducing. I don't think I did this in my example, but the more times people can see and hear you, the better. So when they go to see the transactions, they're introduced to you basically, right?
Yeah. So, and there's two primary things that I'm giving them. I'm giving them the sold transactions, and then below that, I've got a link to the area page specific for Hamden Township on my KV Core as well, because that's got some cool stuff on it, and just as another layer that folks can connect with us on. And then teasing some of the stuff that we were talking about yesterday. The next step is integrating some of the cool website pimping tools that are specific to these pages, where we can congruently make offers or opportunities to connect and converse on those pages with that specific audience.
Yeah, I was playing with that bot more this morning. We'll have more on that soon, but we are starting to get some people who are interacting with the bot, which is encouraging.
Yep. And, I was listening back to yesterday's episode because I try to listen back and see where we can improve and get better, and even where we, sometimes where we screw up, et cetera. And I think one of them, we didn't spend much time on the fact and the fancy term you use, first party data.
Right.
Like you owning the data on your website is incredibly valuable to the same degree as you owning your database. Right? And if you think about what makes Amazon, Facebook, and similar companies, the thing that makes them most, or the thing that within those companies has the most value is their data. And you should be trying to replicate that in your business, is owning as much data as possible. And your database is the easiest one, but that first party data idea of when you have someone on your website, you've got them in your world or in your realm, and how to best capitalize on that. So anyway, it's kind of
Mark, yours seems to be updating, and I logged in as you and did it totally fine. So I'm not sure. I logged in as you. And John, what happens when you click the tool? I'm just doing this here, Josh, just to get it.
Well, and I will tell you, like, at first I didn't realize. So what I did, it may be, so I forget when I hit submit or something like that. I remember thinking, because I'm trying to put myself in their shoes, you then have to click the highlighted link to get it to actually download, right?
Yeah,
Simply putting the create, it creates the calendar, but the flyer, but the flyer is just a link. And then when you tap that link, it will open in a different page, just like an RPR report. Like when you click the download report, it opens the PDF in another tab, and then you can download the flyer. So maybe that was the
I need to remember, I just built this yesterday. It was
right. Yes.
But that's why I'm asking these questions. Like, what happened? I'll make this a lot more prominent, and they call this like user interface, like UI type stuff that I'll clean up. But please do me a favor, because this is so young. Use the chat widget on the right side and just be like, yo, here's what I'm doing. And I'll try to help you via our chat as soon as possible. When you click create PDF, it doesn't do anything. And you are in what browser, John? And John, you can tell me the whole story in your in the chat.
And what would be helpful, John, when stuff like this happens and you hit roadblocks, screenshots or screen recordings are super helpful, because sometimes we can't replicate the issue, right? So if you can, and sometimes I will say that oftentimes this stuff happens because of user error, myself included. And then but that helps us with how to better, as simple as the tool may seem to us, it helps us better lay out a guide for how to use the tool. So
if you're clicking a button and it's doing nothing, check for errors up top. The form will be like, hey, you forgot to fill this out, or you filled that. You know, this has an error. Like if the URL here isn't a legit URL, it won't do it. But yeah, John, let me know in the chat. The chat errorness, guys, it's just on the bottom right of the Wake Up site. We'll probably make a more prominent like need support button or something that'll just link to that. Yeah. But yeah, thanks for testing it, guys. You guys are the kind of guinea pigs. I apologize. So any bugs that we have these first few days, you're gonna have to struggle through it. You can curse me if you want.
Don't get too wound up. It's free, right? Right? I mean, like this kind of stuff, you know, a lot of people, I'll tell you, pay for it. And,
I'm gonna print a bunch of these out and bring it down to this open house. So it's around the corner for me, and I'm gonna let you guys know how it goes this weekend. Yeah. So.
Well, I'm excited to see how it goes for Mark as well. So, all right, that wraps up week number 6.
No way.
Wake Up Real Estate Show. I think it's at least 6.
It's a habit now, Josh. We can't stop doing it.
No, wait a minute. I grossly underestimated. It's week 8. My math is terrible. Doing math live. 40 divided by 8, or 40 divided by 5, because we do 5 shows every week, is 8. 8 weeks of the show. Hard to believe. We're working on some really cool, more deep dive and take you by the hand kind of stuff, both training wise or implementation wise, and also technology wise. So stay tuned for that. But I want to reiterate, the show is going to always be free, and we're going to be continuing to be an open book on what we're doing, what's working, what's not working, the crazy stuff that we're testing or playing with. And then once we've got it to a point where we can put the rubber stamp of approval on, that's when we roll it out and share. And sometimes roll out the beta, like this tool, to figure out where the bugs are, right?
Well, it's fun. The reason to roll out the beta too is because I want some of you guys to be like, yo, why don't you add this? Like, give us the feedback.
It's free. Where we don't want, like, we're not going to charge for theory, right? I guess is what I'm saying. We're not going to start selling anything based upon theory. We're getting the ducks in a row to make sure that, if or when we offer something for sale, which transparently, we've got bills to pay, we've got hungry mouths to feed, we've got a lot of college tuition coming up. But when that happens, we want to be able to essentially guarantee your success.
Josh, my alma mater is $85,000 a year now.
It's every time we look up a college tuition, we're like, what in the hell? Like, can we just take that money and have him burn it on figuring out how to build a business? Like, golly.
I am telling my son every day, you're going to a coding boot camp.
Yeah.
Or you're getting a real estate license.
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah. I'll take I'll take 1 year's tuition. I'll let you put it in the bank. This is great. I'm going to throw this out, but then we'll go to it later. Lo, I don't think there may not be a workaround to it. I know you've asked a couple of times.
Yeah.
It may be that KV Core is removing it. And just so you know, the function altogether may be removed, or they may be adding a bunch of complexity for you to be able to do that, which is why you don't want to be reliant 100% on that. And it's why I've even been moving back towards relying more heavily on email as a more prominent channel. So
yeah, Larry, I apologize. I did respond to the Facebook post. I don't always see those. And the thing with this texting hack, like, their documentation was still there, so I assumed it still worked. But I should have tested that first. So I apologize.
And Lo,
I will let you know.
Well, sometimes some of my text messages don't have it, and some of them do. I mean, I don't know.
What they could be doing is, I know that some of the carriers are more strict than others. So just keep in mind, texting is going to get super hairy. That's why we're trying to figure out things like the chatbot on your site, direct mail as an alternative. We need multiple channels to diversify so that we're not relying on one thing. And I'm sorry if that's not working out for you, Larry. Yeah, thanks, man.
Yep. All right. Everybody have a wonderful weekend. Use the weekend to catch up. If you like binging the show and you've gotten behind, binge watching Ted Lasso. I'm almost caught up. I've been watching that all week. And my son is actually he's trying to get caught up on it as well. The weekend is a great time to binge watch, get caught up on things, etc. For those of you that have open houses this weekend, like Mark, good luck. Good luck. Hope you get a whole bunch of people out there. We've got one tomorrow that Cosette will be the one on site with, and I'm driving as many people there for. So we'll have lots of good stuff to share next week. If you need anything, ideally use the chat in the bottom right. Or if you have something that you'd like to get a crowdsourced answer, go to the Wake Up Real Estate Facebook group. That's a great place to post. And the member count is growing there very quickly as well. So we appreciate that. Like, comment, subscribe, share, smash the bell. If you're listening on your favorite podcast platform, please subscribe, rate, and review. Make it a great weekend. And
great weekend, guys.
Next week.